Good morning, good morning. Welcome again back to Karateng, my home village. As you can see, I'm enjoying the beautiful greenery. Now, in the last video, I started sharing information about why we are moving back to the village. And I barely went through the first two. So I promise today I'm going to do my best to get through all of the 10 reasons. And so if you missed the other video, please go check it out. But I basically talked about the issue of costs and the issue of quality of life. So that's reason number 1 and 2. So today I'm going to pick up from reason number 3, which is safety. Now, every place on earth has its own safety issues, and so I will not spend time talking about how safe or unsafe Karateng is. However, when it comes to safety, the two compelling reasons why we are moving back is, number 1, gun violence. Where we live in America, gun violence is such a massive pandemic. I never imagined that somebody could just walk into a preschool and start shooting babies, or walk into a grocery store and start shooting people randomly. Now, in the village where we live, there is almost no such thing as gun violence. If it happens, it is quite an exception. And so gun violence is something we don't have to worry about in the village. Now, the second issue around safety too is what I describe as the social safety net in the village. While in the Western world, there exists different forms of social safety nets compared to what we have in the village. What we have really is a very tight-knit community that rallies around people whenever there's a need. And so, for example, you cannot find a homeless person in the village. And so we have benefited from the social safety net that we have, and would absolutely love to continue enjoying them, including our kids, giving them an opportunity to do that. Reason number 4, the reason why we are moving back to the village, is racism. And here I'm specifically talking about anti-Black racism, which again can be extremely debilitating. Those who know what I'm talking about living in the Western world, it is something else. In the village, you are far less likely to experience it, in part because we kind of all look the same. Now, that is not to say that there are certain isms that exist. Indeed, there are. But racism, the kind that you see in the Western world, is almost non-existent in the village. And we would love for our kids to be protected from that. Reason number 5, the kids. As you have seen in many of our videos, our babies love spending time in the village. Just the sense of freedom, running around and people being friendly. There's lots of kids, they're playing. They don't have to be supervised. So our kids absolutely love spending time around what you're looking at. And the second thing is, when we bring our kids to Kenya, they have more opportunities to pick up our native languages, something that is often very difficult to do when you're living with kids in the diaspora. We also hope that as they spend more time around our people, they'll be picking up some of the cultural nuances that are often not available in the Western world. And also, most importantly, our parents are still there, our grandparents are still there. We would love for our kids to really spend as much time as possible with our extended family. And keeping in mind that in my culture, there is no such thing as extended family. That's a very Western thing. In fact, we don't even have a word for uncle, cousin, nephew, nothing like that. So my brother's son is my son. My father's brother is my father. That's how tight our community is. So we hope that by spending more time in Kenya, our kids will get to enjoy that sense of family. Now, reason number 6 is retirement. As many of you already know, that life after retirement comes with lots of changes, especially on the financial end of it. The beautiful thing about living in the village is that the cost of elder care is very low. Almost all senior citizens live in their own homes with their families. And in fact, I don't know if we have any separate homes where they care for old people. And so, like, my grandma is 96 right now. She still lives at home, gets all the care, gets all the support without having to move to a different place. So the cost is really minimal. And then the other thing about retirement is that because of the cost, even if you simply retire on Social Security, for those who live in America, I've seen folks earn anywhere between $1,000 and $3,000. That much money in the village is a whole lot. In fact, you'd be one of the richer folks just living on $3,000 a month as a retirement person. So many of us from Kenya don't desire to grow old in America. And the other beautiful thing about it is that in our culture, old age is really revered. So people respect old age, and it's not something we shy away from. Now, slightly related to that is that in the end, we are all going to die at some point. Most of us desire to be buried next to our ancestors. And so I think if we retire back home, and when time comes, we would like to retire next to our ancestors. Another bonus to it. Then reason number 7 is the weather. Of course, Kenya is a big country, and you'll experience all sorts of weathers from relatively cold to really, really hot. So it just depends on where you live. Where we live in Karating, our weather is wonderful. It hardly gets hot. It hardly gets super cold. It's often very temperate and mild. And so compared to many parts in the West, our weather is fantastic. Reason number 8, diaspora community. Now, over the years, quite a few folks who moved to the diaspora have actually started moving back. And so in the last 3 years or so, I've met quite a few Kenyans who have spent many years in diaspora and are now back. So that growing diaspora community is also another fantastic opportunity for connection, and we are really enjoying that. Reason number 9, and this is giving back. We've seen that when we spend time in Kenya, we have increased opportunities to give back to the community, whether it's through training, through volunteer, just addressing day-to-day community needs, creating employment, and most importantly, when it comes to giving back, to me personally, is about changing mindset. Whether you're talking about social issues, economic issues, education issues, when we spend time with folks, we do things differently. I have noticed that over time, especially the younger kids, they pick up on quite a few things, and we learn from each other. So one of the biggest things about living at home is that apart from just bringing in that financial support, there are lots of opportunities to actually give back to the community in a meaningful way. And then finally, reason number 10, opportunities for entrepreneurship. Oh my, I have seen excellent opportunities for entrepreneurship through agriculture, through technology, education, healthcare. Oh my, I have a friend who actually lives just about a few minutes away from me. He used to live in North Carolina, has a massive farm. He actually makes way more money now than he did living in the US. And so while many people may not know that, Africa in general, and more specifically Kenya, has amazing opportunities for entrepreneurship in many places. I'm often shocked when I'm traveling around. I meet people from all over the planet. I just met a woman from Bulgaria the other day who is doing business, and she's been living in Kenya for like 12 years. And so that's one world that I never knew about while living in Kenya. But now that I live here, I see opportunities everywhere. And so for folks who are thinking about transitioning to Kenya, there are lots of opportunities. Now, in summary, like I said, we are looking forward to moving back in Kenya. That may not necessarily mean that we are done with life in the West. I foresee a scenario where we'll be going back and forth. But we look forward to an opportunity where the majority of our lives are spent in Kenya. Now, in the next set of videos, I'm going to talk about how to prepare for that. And so I will be sharing with you the entire process from day one up till where we are. Thank you for joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Please, if you like this video, enjoy and subscribe.